Far out in space, millions of miles from Earth, is a planet. It is called Zirconia. On this planet is a city called Spazonia. One of the city's most honored citizens is Professor Smarts. Every day, Professor Smarts flies to his laboratory in his air car. Uh-oh, seems that today he's having a few traffic problems. Presently, Professor Smarts is working on a time capsule. It is nearly completed. Only testing remains. What's that? Oh, it's a message from the computer. Snake? What would the professor want a snake for? Oh, it was a mistake. The professor wanted a snack. That's a good trick, squeezing a banana to peel it. I see they have litter bugs on Zirconia, too. Professor, the banana peel! Oh, no. Professor, you're going in the wrong way. Try to get out. That's right, but don't kick too hard. Uh-oh, you just broke your directional control. And I think you also kicked your takeoff button, because you're taking off. I wonder where the professor could be going without his directional control. At least we know his time capsule is working. Uh-oh, Professor. Now you're out of fuel and stuck in 1835. The professor is now plummeting helplessly through space. I wonder where he's landing. It looks something like Earth. It is Earth. That's an Indian chief greeting him. It's obviously Kenosha, and the chief is taking him on a tour. First to the wigwam maker. He explains with sign language how wigwams are made with sapling frames covered by birch bark. Uh-oh, the wigwam maker ripped his pants. He must have bumped his wigwam. I guess he's not the greatest wigwam maker after all. On to the canoe maker, who invites the professor to test one of his canoes. Uh-oh. Let's hope there aren't any sharks nearby. Oh no, I'm sorry I said that. That's a friendly pair. Disgusted, the chief takes Professor Smarts to watch the greatest hunter in action. What action? Rotten is more like it. By now the chief figures the professor needs some refreshment. I wonder how that tastes. Wow, that's powerful stuff. And he's asking for more? I wonder why. Where are you going? I mean, floating, Professor. I see. You're using it for fuel for your spaceship. That's good thinking, Professor. I hope it works. Good luck. It worked. You blasted off all right. I hope you get back to Zirconia. I see you did return. Now you're going to check up on Kenosha. Ah, the first white settlers to come to Kenosha. And there's John Bullen, Jr. He was followed by a wagon load of men and the first woman settler, Mrs. Wilson, who had a rough arrival. The Indians left when the settlers bought their land. He hasn't sewed his pants yet? That's unbelievable. The settlers built their cabins in the spring. They had a problem with the wolves attacking their cows. They solved this problem by building a stockade. The settlers were fortunate in having plenty of fish in Pike's Creek. A shark in a creek? The first lighthouse was a huge tree stump with a fire built on top. It was in use when the town was named Southport in 1837. Sometimes there were accidents on the lake. Next, Professor Smarts decides to see what happened in 1890. By then, Southport was called Kenosha, and a real lighthouse had been built, and ship traffic increased. In 1890, churches were built, and a general store, and a saloon for the thirsty, and even a cafe. Wood frame homes replaced log cabins. Now Professor Smarts is really interested in Kenosha's growth and checks out progress in 1960. He sees huge factories like Simmons Company, which later moved south, American Motors, and Hotel Dayton. The Gilbert M. Simmons Library was a beautiful building. By 1960, the city had many lovely modern homes. Then Professor Smarts turns his time telescope to the present, 1976, when on July 4th, Kenosha had the biggest fireworks display in its history in honor of the Bicentennial. I understand that Professor Smarts is so impressed with Kenosha that he plans to visit it again someday. So if you should see him, give him my warmest regards.